So if by some chance you haven't heard of this little gem, Portal, you need to play this game. Portal gets an emphatic and universal recommendation from me, no matter what your gaming preferences are or what genres you usually gravitate towards. Back in 2007, Valve released the Orange Box in retail stores. It was a combo pack of Half-Life 2, both the Half-Life 2 episodes, Team Fortress 2, and a little game called Portal. I bought the Orange Box mostly for Half-Life 2, but it was this little game Portal that totally blew my mind. For those who are still unaware how this game works, the main gameplay mechanic in Portal is the portal gun. The gun allows the shooter to create two separate spatial rifts on a flat surface that connect one place to another. For instance, if I placed one portal on the floor and one on the ceiling, I could jump through the floor and come out the ceiling. You can start to see here and imagine the gameplay and puzzle possibilities with this mechanic. The spatial reasoning puzzles were absolutely mind-bending, and I loved it. Even the momentum-based platforming challenges were a blast. The gameplay varies from puzzles to platforming to bullet dodging and sometimes blends all three. The entire game felt fresh, and each room was a new challenge to conquer. From a game design, balancing, and difficulty curve perspective, I think this game is as close to perfection as I'll ever see a game come. It's a game that knows its mechanics are difficult to grasp for first-time players, so it starts out slow to make sure the player understands the basics before getting things more complicated. It first introduces the basics of how portals work before it even gives you the gun. Then once you get the gun, it only shoots one portal at a time, while the other connecting portal remains stationary to help minimize unwanted confusion while the players are adjusting to the mechanics of the game. Then once all the mechanics of the game are introduced, the game starts slowly ramping up the difficulty of the puzzles and platforming at a perfect pace to match the player's understanding and comfortability with the game. Once you master one mechanic, the next room throws a different one at you, or sometimes layers several mechanics from previous rooms altogether to make sure you understand them all. Another important thing Portal does is that it never outstays its welcome. Right when it's done throwing all the layers of its tricky mechanics at you, the game starts to wind down. It winds down particularly well with a satisfying and hilarious boss fight too, but my point is that nothing feels stretched out or tacked on with Portal. Each part of the game feels very necessary and deliberate. It's totally brilliantly constructed, and Portal is my gold standard for excellent game design. Also not to be forgotten about is Portal's excellent sense of humor. There's really only two characters in Portal, yourself and the intelligent computer system guiding you through the maze of rooms, who is known as GLaDOS. Since your player character is silent, all of the humor in the game is delivered through GLaDOS. It's a subtle type of humor. The game initially expects you to trust GLaDOS, as she is the voice who is instructing and coaching you through the test chambers. But then every once in a while, GLaDOS will utter a line of dialogue that makes you think, wait, what? Did the computer just say what I think it said?
While safety is one of many Enrichment Center goals, the Aperture Science high-energy pellet seen to the left of the chamber can and has caused permanent disabilities such as vaporization. Please be careful.
A lot of these lines are intentionally humorous, and the game uses this subtle humor to eventually break down any trust that you placed in GLaDOS at the beginning of the game, and it slowly becomes obvious that GLaDOS is trying to kill you. Portal brilliantly uses this subtle brand of humor throughout the course of the game, and has of course become famous for well-known memes based around the weighted companion cube and the cake is a lie. Portal is an experience that every gamer should have. The puzzles are mind-bendingly brilliant, the platforming is fun and challenging, and the subtle humor keeps the game interesting throughout its duration. It's my favorite thing that's come out of the video game industry in the last 15 years.